Soraya, Amir's wife in the KITE movie. Well, for me, I think in the first quarter of the movie, when the audience get introduced with our main characters in such a light and cheerful way. And I remember in the movie screening, the actors who played the young version of Amir and Hassan, it looked like they were having so much fun trying to fly the kite. And in the movie, you can see that they have to compete. Some were trying to cut other kite strings with their own. So in view perspective, I think it's a unique game that you barely or never seen before. Well, this one is quite terrifying to be remembered as a memorable scene, but I do remember vividly the performance of our main character Amir, the fears in his eyes when he saw Hassan getting attacked by Asif. But God knows why he didn't go and help Hassan, and instead he went on and be a jerk, causing him and Hassan's friendship to drift apart.
Hi vlog, it's Ain. I play Sanova in the KITE area. So I'm going to take you guys through my 5 minutes beauty tutorial. So here I got my little mirror, so let's go. Don't stop, keep the rhythm coming, don't stop. So I think that one scene when after witnessing Hassan assault, Amir do nothing to intervene, and Amir feels overwhelming guilt and shame. He avoid Hassan and their friendship got worse, and Amir guilt leads him to frame Hassan for theft, further damaging their relationship. And this strain the relationship between Amir and Hassan that create a rift between the one close friend, and it also contribute to the already strained relationship between Amir and his father Baba, as Amir struggles to earn his father's approval and reconcile his own moral feelings.
This is on. Get on done with me, Vogue. Hi, I play one of the extras in the movie. You shouldn't have missed me because I was the one who was stoned to death, along with my pitiable lover in the movie, of course. Oh, getting stoned for sure. That part was rough. Everyone on the set that day felt the nervousness because that's how serious the Taliban rules were. Anyway, I remember our main character Amir in disguise with a beard in order to blend in, give such a splendid performance though. Once he had arrived in the orphanage of Kabul for the sake of finding Hassan's son Sohrab, and when he had heard that the Taliban had taken him, he was resolute. I don't think I would be able to infiltrate the place if I were him. What he did was very brave indeed. And soon, can you believe it? He met Asif, the predator, again. And this time, he's preying upon Hassan's son just like he did back then. Unbelievable, right? But that's that. Amir did get bitten by him though, probably because he thought that he deserved it. And then, they escaped.
Alright. Hello Vogue, my name is Irfan. You probably know me as the child actor for Young Asif in the movie The Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini. The little rascal he is. Well, definitely the part after Amir took in Sohrab as his own son. I know I wasn't part of the actors that were involved in the final parts of the movie, but watching the final product with the other cast members, made me emotional. After Amir and Sohrab returned to Pakistan via Farid's car, Amir tries to return to Rahim Khan for even more guidance, but then found out he died from his neighbors. Amir then went to sleep, but later in the morning, he found that Sohrab was missing. He tried searching for Sohrab everywhere, and then it leads him to a mosque, where later he found out that during Sohrab's time in Kabul, the Taliban often forced him to go to the mosque early in the morning, which was pretty sad, and it's hard to imagine a boy forced to do something against his will. Not long after, they returned back to America where Sohrab struggles to fit in with everyone, but later warms up when Amir introduced him to kite fighting, which was his father's and also Amir's favorite sport. After cutting an opponent's kite, Amir then decided to run the opponent's kite and drop Hassan's famous one-liner from earlier in the movies, which was, "For you, 1,000 times over." You know, until this very day, that quote, whether spoken or like uttered by myself, it sends shivers down my spine when I hear it because it's such a powerful quote.
The first one would be the social class disparities. I think it is one of the most prominent issue in this movie between the Pashtun and the Hazara. The Hazaras historically have been treated as inferior ethnic group, and they face discrimination and prejudice by the Pashtun. They are persecuted and oppressed simply because the Hazaras are Shia Muslims and the Pashtuns are the Sunni Muslims. The main character, Amer, belongs to the Pashtun privilege class and has societal advantages that Hassan, a Hazara, lacks. Hassan, being a Hazara, occupies a lower position in the socio-economic hierarchy. So the fact that he is Amer's servant intensifies the disparities between them. Sometimes, regardless of how close Amer and Hassan are, Amer still participate in the discrimination as well. Although he didn't always participate, he never actually stand up for Hassan either. He heard of how the other Pashtuns speak of Hassan as a Hazara, and it's definitely offensive. Another example is when Asif, a Pashtun, treat Hazaras, especially Hassan, with no respect at all. He even go as far as to sodomizing Hassan and defending his action by stating that Hassan is just a Hazara and he deserves such indecency. Another issue would be gender roles and expectations. As this movie is set in a conservative Afghan society, traditional gender norms can influence the characters' behavior and choices. Men are expected to fulfill certain roles such as being providers or protectors of the family, while women are often confined to more domestic roles such as being caregivers and homemakers. This expectation can be seen in Amer's relationship with his father, Baba. Baba expects Amer to embody stereotypical masculine qualities such as courage and strength, which make Amer struggles with the societal expectation of masculinity. In contrast to Amer, despite facing discrimination as a Hazara, Hassan embodies the qualities that are traditionally associated with masculinity, such as loyalty and bravery. Hassan is also shown to be gentle and nurturing towards Amer, and he enjoys sewing and embroidery, which are the activities that typically associated with femininity.
So I could highlight two issues. The first one is war and its aftermath, the Soviet invention and the ensuing conflict tear his family apart and leaving many broken and scattered. Like, we see this impact on Amer families, particularly Baba's decision to flee Afghanistan and leaving behind their home, possession and way of life, and the trauma of war strain familiar relationship and leave lasting scars on the characters. The war bring profound loss and trauma to the character, and both directly and indirectly. Many lose loved ones, homes, and a sense of the security. The psychological toll of witnessing violence and experience upheaval manifests in various ways, from PTSD like symptoms to enduring feelings of grief and displacement. Despite the devastation wrought by war, the character demonstrate remarkable resilience in the face of adversity. They adapt to new circumstances, form bond with fellow survivors, and find way to preserve amidst the chaos. And this resilience is evidenced in character like Hassan, who endures hardship with quiet dignity, and in Amer's journey toward redemption and reconciliations. The next issue would be about friendship and loyalty. The friendship between Amer and Hassan is tested when Amer witnesses Hassan being assaulted and does nothing to intervene, and his guilt over this betrayal haunts him throughout the movie, driving much of his subsequent action and quest for redemption. And this movie explored the complexities of betrayal within the context of friendship and the long-lasting repercussions it can have on both parties involved. As the movie unfolds, Amer grapple with his guilt and seek redemption for his past action. And his journey towards redemption is intricately tied to his desire to atone for betraying Hassan and to make amends for the pain he caused. Through act of courage, self-reflection, and ultimately self-sacrifice, Amer strives to redeem himself and reconcile with his past.
Well, for me, the first issue would be religious hypocrites, which can be seen by the Taliban imposing extremely strict and conservative religious restrictions upon the people in Afghanistan. The women must completely cover themselves, and any sins acted upon, for example, associating oneself with the opposite gender, is considered as adultery, and the punishment is stoned to death. Me in the movie. Despite that, the Taliban rulers, especially the higher-ups themselves, are religious hypocrites, since they seem to have only taken or picked and choose the teachings of the religion, which is Islam, only for their own benefits. For example, we are exposed to the fact that the Taliban would come to the orphanage to take the children to bring back to their place, and Asif himself, being one of the Taliban higher-ups, admits to entertaining himself with the children. This act of entertaining oneself and extorting children out of their own life does not just completely defies the teaching of Islam, but also an act of degeneracy of a human being. From my perspectives, the movie serves as an eye-opener that vile creatures exist and are living among us, especially in Afghanistan at the moment, where it is confirmed that the Taliban is unfortunately once again in power. Another issue I believe that the movie is trying to portray is betrayal and forgiveness, as it wraps around not only Amir and Hassan, but also Baba towards Hassan and his childhood friend Ali. We are made aware of how Hassan is actually Baba's biological son, and Baba had no other choices in order to conserve his image as someone noble that he had to hide this fact. Baba lived his life in quiet guilt towards Hassan and his childhood friend ever since Hassan was born, and the guilt worsened when Hassan left with Ali. Amir, on the other hand, had betrayed Hassan not only once but twice by not helping him when he was sexually assaulted by Asif, and the second time out of his own guilty conscience by framing Hassan for theft. Personally, I dislike Amir and his weak resolutions as compared to Hassan's assertiveness, yet I have tried convincing myself that a child would not have known any better in facing his own emotions, let alone bear the responsibility of guilt. While what he had done cannot be altered anymore, what it was trying to seek was the smallest fragments of redemption by going all the way to meet the Taliban rulers to take Hassan's son, Sohrab, back into safety. And this was highly admirable. In a way, Amir is also seeking forgiveness deep inside his heart towards Hassan that lives in Sohrab. This proves how a person may not be able to change the past, yet they have the power to always change and mold the future that they want.
Well, I think loss and grief is one, because it can be clearly seen in Amir during his days in Kabul until he was in Fremont, California. It's pretty sad, no? Because Amir has lost a lot of loved ones during his lifetime. The most impactful loss that Amir felt was the death of his best friend, Hassan. Hassan was shot dead by a Taliban militant, and Amir found out from Rahim Khan, his mentor who was residing in Pakistan. In Hassan's letter to Amir, his last wish was for Amir to take care of his son, Sohrab. And the second loss that Amir has felt that has impacted his life is the death of Baba Jan, who died from lung cancer. He was suffering and he refused treatment because he was too prideful. And he actually left big shoes for Amir to fill, because Amir has yet to prove himself that he is an independent man that can stand up for himself. The next issue would be immigration and displacement of the Afghan people by the Soviet invasion. During the early parts of the story, Amir and his father, Baba Jan, was forced to flee the country due to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Why did the Soviet Union invade Afghanistan? Well, it's because they want to suppress the anti-communist regime in the country while also establishing their own regime. Shortly after, they lived in Fremont, California, but instead of Baba Jan being a rich businessman, he was forced to take a job as an employee at a gas station while also selling stuff in the flea market just to generate income. They also have met some Afghans such as General Taheri, his wife, and also Soraya. One notable thing is that General Taheri worked as an employee at the Minister of Defense before the Soviet invasion. This shows that the Soviet Union has displaced many people to flee from their homes out of terror. If not, they will be forced to live under a regime where death occurs daily. Some people were not lucky in escaping the country at all, as they were forced to stay while their country is falling apart.
Despite that, we have come to one profound conclusion on what the movie is trying to convey, and that is the power behind forgiveness and seeking forgiveness.
As Muslim ourselves, seeking forgiveness and being able to forgive the person who has wronged us is a noble act.
We see this from the portrayal of each vital character like Baba, who tries to atone his past mistake with Hassan, Amir, who wants to seek his own redemption through Sohrab, and Hassan himself holding no grudges against Amir, his close friend, or more accurately his brother.
Overall, The Kite Runner has graced us with a tint of message of hope, the beauty in forgiveness, and the potential of personal growth, even in the aftermath of profound regret.